So one of the big things that I like to point out is these cards are obviously textured, right? So you can see, if I can kind of hover over this magnifying glass, those fingerprint looking textures. We really have to be careful on making sure that we don't miss any scratches or indentations, because sometimes those can hide them rather well. So again, this is pretty new, so we're not gonna spend too much time on the surface unless Betty threw this down a flight of stairs, which I'm going to hope and assume that she did not. So just kind of taking a quick look, really nothing that stands out. But like Taco mentioned already, really the big thing that we're going to be looking for is the centering. So let's see. So there's really not a whole lot on the top that you can tell for the bottom of the centering. So really the biggest parts that we're going to be looking at are the bottom left and the bottom right of this artwork specifically. So you can kind of see that to Taco's observation, right? The right side is a little bit thicker than that left side. So we're slightly off center, nothing to where it's too crazy, but it might prevent the 10. But at the very least, we're looking at a 9 just on the front. So let's take a look at the back. Unhandy, welcome. All right, so the back looking really clean. Again, this is probably going to be the assumption for most of these pack fresh cards, like Betty said, if most of these are pack fresh. So edges looking pretty good. So the real big one is that there's no corner dings. Normally for modern cards, that's where you're gonna have that hold you back from the 10, are the little white dots. But so far, the top left, bottom right, and the top right all look good. Edges also look good. And then now we're just kind of looking real quick to see if there's any noticeable print lines. Maybe something there. I'm not too sure. That might be a hair or something like that. I'm not too sure. But if it is, we can easily get rid of that. Dust. It's always the dust. Yeah, as long as you get that off before PSA, you should be totally fine. But it's not, I don't think it's bent. I think it's just probably a little starting to get slightly curled or slightly bowed. As long as you flatten that out, which I've definitely have done, flattened out some cards before I submitted them, just the classic, put them in a book or put some weight between them, and I've had cards come back as 9s and some of even 10s. So it's not too much of a big deal, but that is a good observation, Taco, for sure. Yeah, so that is the front of the really pretty Umbreon and the back. So let's see what chat thinks. But anyway, all right, so I think we're going to end it there. So we got 8 or higher is the chat grade. And so my grade is not a 6, because that was for the last one. So I'd say with really the only thing that's probably setting this back is that little bit of off centering. So I'd probably say 9. But definitely a good clean card for sure. So chat grade 8 to 10, and then my grade as a 9.